everybody, welcome to Raincross Farms Makery. My name is Robin. Behind the camera, behind the computer is my husband Bill. And welcome to Craft Round the Clock's little mini marathon on family photo crafting. So I have a really fun idea, and let me get this up and going before I get started. And we only have half an hour, so we've got to get to getting. So let me get this attached to this post. So pop in, say hello, let me know you're watching, save that, publish that. Woohoo! Okay. How is everybody? I can't see comments yet. Bill hasn't got them set up yet. Let me get this turned off and get this turned on, and we should be ready to go. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody? Let me see if I can get comments here. Hey, Designs by Dina. Hello, Dina. Thanks for watching. Okay, so we would love it if you would give our page a heart, give our video a heart. If you'd follow our page, Raincross Farms Makery, we would love to have you watch us as we craft throughout the week. And if you feel like sprinkling this out to your crafty friends, that would be just great too. All of these things help us get noticed by Facebook, and hopefully Facebook sees that we are a quality program and that they will show us to other people. So welcome, welcome. Hey, Cheryl Mesh. Hey, Stacy. Hello, Michelle. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am good. Happy afternoon to all of you. It might be evening for where you are. I'm not sure. We are coming to you right outside of Lewiston, Idaho. So we're on Pacific time. And anyway, excited to be here. Happy to have you. Okay, so let's see. Tonight's project, this afternoon's project, of course, has to do with family photos. And I'm going to take a little different, I haven't watched everybody this morning, but I haven't seen anybody do this yet. Doesn't mean I did, doesn't mean they didn't, just means I didn't see it. I've got some pictures on tissue paper, and we are going to actually Mod Podge them onto a surface to make a fun little photo block. So here's what you'll need. You'll need tissue paper. I just plain white tissue paper. And you will need a sheet of printer paper. And I'm using blue just because it shows up. Let's see. Hi, Tracy. First time viewer from Delaware. We are glad to have you. Okay, so in order to run this tissue paper through your printer, if you just took the tissue paper and cut it this size, it would wad up and it would make a giant mess of your printer. Now, I just used an inkjet, but this is what you do. You take tissue paper, you cut it as wide as your paper is, so 8.5 inches wide. And let me get a pair of scissors. And you want to cut it just slightly longer, so 11 to 12 inches long. And you want to line that up with your guide sheet, your guide paper. Now it doesn't have to, this is a little bit thicker paper, but it doesn't have to be. It could just be regular paper. And you can see I've got a little bit extra at the top. So what I'm going to do is fold this down. Now I didn't bring my printer down here because it probably wouldn't work anyway if I disconnected it. And I'm just going to tape this edge down. So did you see what I did there? Let's see, created in, hello, hello, hello. So what I did is I took my tissue paper. It is a little bit longer than 8.5 by 11, and I tucked it over the top and taped it down. Now, you have to know how your printer works, if it prints from the bottom, you know, how it feeds, but mine prints on the bottom. So when I put this in the paper tray, I have to put this edge in because this is the edge that gets grabbed. You want it to grab this. And I get printed on the bottom, so I want the tissue paper facing the bottom. So when I put this in the tray, and I either do it Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, either do Wi-Fi if I'm just coming off my computer or if I am copying an actual photo. So when I hit print, it goes through and it comes out like this. And because this is folded over, it grabs this and it doesn't tear it. So give that a try. Anyway, so I've got some photos, and I have photos on tissue paper. Hello, hello, hello. And I have some blocks. Now you're thinking, where did you get those blocks? You can get them at craft stores, but this is what I did. I got, or my son got, a 4x4. This is a 4x4. And that's what this is. Just so you know, 4x4s are not 4 inches by 4 inches. They're really like 3.5 by 3.5. So what I did is had him cut these at 3.5 inches so that it made a square or a cube. And then we kind of sanded down the edges so they weren't sharp, but you don't have to do that. But anyway, easy way, relatively inexpensive way to get some blocks is to use a 4x4. But you can find them, maybe not quite this big in craft stores, but you can get them 3x3. They may or may not be a little pricey. But anyway, I'm going to use 2 of these. And to save time, because I knew I would be running out of time, I pre-painted these. It was this wood. Actually, it was wood, and it had some stain on it. But I painted over it all 6 sides, and I just used Waverly chalk paint. You could use acrylic paint, that doesn't matter. I just used Waverly chalk paint in white and just went through it. I think I did 2 coats. You want your background to be white or very, very light, because if you don't, if I put this on a blue background, I would have Smurfs, because the background is going to show through, because this is only tissue paper. So you want to have that white, light background. New from Maryland, just got on. Can you explain the picture printing again? Sure, real quick. You take tissue paper, just regular, ordinary, plain white tissue paper, and a sheet of copy paper. This is kind of like your guide paper. Now you need to cut it at least no wider than this 8.5 inch. And you want it a little bit longer than your 11 because you want it to flop over. And then I just taped it down. And then my printer prints the bottom because it goes through and so it ends up coming out on the top. So you have to know your printer. But it feeds through this edge. This is what those gripper things grab. And because it grabs this edge, it doesn't rip. It doesn't rip the tissue paper. So you just print it through and it comes out like this. So that's what I did. Okay. One of my favorite ways of doing decoupage is with Mod Podge, but not wet Mod Podge. So here's what I'm going to do. This is matte. It doesn't matter if it's matte. It doesn't matter if it's glossy. I'm just going to take some Mod Podge and I'm going to paint on a thin layer, not super thick, thin layer on the 4 sides. I'm not going to do the top and bottom because of how I'm going to set this up. You could do all 6 sides if you wanted to, if you were just going to lay some photo blocks around. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly do this. And maybe you've seen the ironing method before. That's what I'm going to do to adhere this tissue. I think it works really good because it doesn't leave a lot of wrinkles, and sometimes when you put that tissue paper down on the wet Mod Podge, it just all wrinkles up, and that does not look attractive on photos. Okay, hey Pam, hello, you are so welcome. Hey Debbie from Florida, glad you're here. Good to see everybody. I hope you learn a new technique, even if even if you use the technique in a different way, that's fine. It's my goal to teach you something, a new technique, and I just kind of had this brain idea. So I'm gonna dry the Mod Podge. So I've got my dryer here. I'm just gonna make sure it's dry. Debbie from Florida. You having good weather in Florida? Hope so. We are having a cold snap. We had snow 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I'm talking to my husband Bill. 3 days ago I think we had snow, and usually in our area it melts off like within a couple of hours once the sun comes out. But it has been so cold that we still have snow on the ground. Maybe only an inch or two, but yes, I dry the Mod Podge first, dear. I'm drying it. How many of you have done the iron-on Mod Podge method and have some idea of what I'm talking about? Okay, so this is dry to the touch. Now I'm going to take some of my photos, and I don't know if she's here. I invited her. Hey, Debbie, warm, 90 degrees. Oh my goodness. We haven't had that since we were back in California. Oh, and I didn't tell you. The photos I'm using are of my son and daughter-in-law's wedding. We just got back 2 weeks ago from their wedding. And so those are the pictures that I'm using. I don't have any paper copies of them yet. Northern California getting snow. Hi, Teresa. So I'm cutting these a little bit bigger, and that's okay. So let's see. Here is a cute one of Tiffany and her mama. Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to take this, and remember this is dried Mod Podge. Thank you for sprinkling. And I'm going to line it up on my block. And just in case that ink wants to bleed, I'm going to put just a sheet of tissue paper over that, which hopefully I won't regret. And then I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper, and that's just to protect my iron. So now I'm going to get my little mini iron. And I have it, this is my little Cricut mini press, and I have it set on low, and I'm just taking it and going over that. And what that's doing is kind of melting and reactivating the Mod Podge just a bit, so it's not liquidy, but so that it attaches to that tissue paper and holds it in place. So let's see how this did with my, oh, probably not do it with tissue. It kind of stuck. So I'm just going over it with heat.
Debbie says, I haven't tried using an iron for pictures. That's a cute idea.
Yeah, it is. It's a fun technique, and I like it, like I said, because it gets rid of the wrinkles. So I'm making sure this goes all over the edges. Put that away, and you can see it is attached to this block. Now, except where I went over the edges. So now I'm going to take a sanding block, because this is the easiest way to trim off the corners, is take a sanding block and just downward strokes, go over that right at the edge. It kind of feathers the edges. And ta-da! There's one of my pictures. That is my Tiffy and her mama Tina. And let's see, which one shall we do next? Let's do, let's see. I'm going to end up doing all of these, but I'm not going to do all of them probably in this video. So let's see, we already did one of Tiffy and her mom. Let's do one of, okay, here is the picture when my son first saw his bride-to-be. They did the little reveal.
It's the reveal.
The reveal. So that was a picture from that. So I'm just going to line that up. And again, this is dried Mod Podge. And then this is parchment paper. And I'm going to take my iron, and again, this is on medium. You don't want to burn that ink. So you don't want it screaming hot. We are on high wind advisory, flash flood warnings, and tornado warnings. Just, oh my goodness. You've got it going on. So I'm trying not to smear it around because I don't want that ink, although it has been, I printed it a couple days ago, so that ink should be pretty dry. If you do it right when it comes out of the printer, it's possible your ink might smear. You don't want that. Okay. So, and I'm going to make sure all the edges are pushed down. So again, I just printed out my photos onto tissue paper, directly onto tissue paper. And now I'm taking a sanding block, or you could just use sandpaper, and I'm just going in a vertical motion, and I'm really just shaving off those edges, and it kind of feathers them, so you have a nice finished edge. So there's my boy and his girl.
Well, knowing me, I'd probably put one of the pictures sideways or upside down.
Okay, now I'm just going to do 2 on this, but I'm going to end up doing all 4. Next, we're going to do 2 of these. We're going to do a double decker because I figure go big or go home, right? So again, Mod Podge, doesn't matter if it's matte or shiny. Boy, time is flying. Bill says, you're not going to get done. I said, I know, but I'm purposely leaving some of it undone so you can use your imagination. But I wanted you to see, even if you tuned in late, I wanted you to see multiple times how I do it. So I'm just taking regular Mod Podge and brushing a, not thick, not thin, just a good layer, good solid layer of Mod Podge. All on that area that I'm going to put photos. And I'm just, you could let it air dry. I don't have the patience for that. So I'm using my little drying tool. And we'll do another one. Yes, if you didn't see me show you how to print on tissue paper, make sure you watch the replay and see how I do that. Because if you just cut tissue paper to 8.5 by 11 and try to feed it through your printer, it's going to be a giant mess. So don't do that. You want to get it attached to a guide sheet. And you want that guide sheet to drag that tissue paper through. Okay. So let's do another one. How about doing Mr. and Mrs. Mr. and Mrs. Now, which way is that way? Okay. So I'm going to trim this off. Well, this is Mr. and Mrs. Bourbonnais, but we're the parent, Mr. and Mrs. Bourbonnais. Okay, so again, I'm laying this down. I painted this white or very light, otherwise you'll see through it. Okay, I'm trying to make sure I don't cut my husband's head off too badly. And I'm going to cover it up. Make sure there's no wrinkles. And I'm going to cover it up with parchment paper. And I'm going to just take an iron on low, medium low, not screaming hot because I don't want to melt those inks. Denise from Philadelphia, welcome. We are glad to have you. We hope you guys will all follow our page so you can see some of the other fun crafts we do. I am a designer for Chalk Couture, so I generally am doing a Chalk Couture project, but for this I thought I'm just going to flat out do a basic crafting technique for y'all. Okay, so, and again, no wrinkles. It's awesome. Sanding block, and I'm just kind of keeping it upright, and I am sanding off those edges. Okay. Now, I'm not going to take the time to do all 8 sides because we don't have enough time. So pretend I have 8 pictures here. Now, I could have tried to maybe find out how to do like a Lazy Susan thing so that it would spin, but I don't think it's necessary. So this is what I'm going to do. First of all, Mr. Bill, will you help me?
Sure.
Will you help me? I need, because on the top of this, I am going to put, this is a, what is it, a drawer pull. I got this at the Dollar Tree. They had a whole bunch of them. They had some of these blue ones, but they're like a crystal, but it's not crystal, it's just glass. It's probably just plastic drawer pull. And that's going to be in the very, very top. So I'm going to have Mr. Bill come, and he is going to show you his little secret to centering it.
I got dressed up for this, as you can tell. She's got more pictures to put on, and so I'm going to do that. First thing I did is I found a drill bit that matches the size of the shank that I'm going to screw in there. You can see I just get it close. It needs to be somewhat tight, although we're going to glue it in there. Next thing is to find the center of the block. Well, that's pretty simple. You guys can figure that one out. You just put a straight edge. It can be the edge of a box, an envelope, or anything straight. Make a little mark right in the center, and then you go to the opposite corners and line that up. Anything straight. Gives you a nice tight little X right where the center is. The next thing that I find it helps my, well, I used to be a high school teacher, so it's one of those things. On a drill, you have a forward and a backward. This little button right here. You can push it one way, it goes forward, one way it goes backwards. We're going to go backwards with it and put it right on the center of that. Put it right in the center, and I'm going to go backwards just for a second, and that gives me a divot that's going to hold my bit in the right spot. Now, how do I make sure I go straight up and down? You can use anything. You can use a paper towel roll. You can use whatever, or you can just eyeball it. Doesn't really matter that much, but I find it easy that I can put a straight edge with it, and I have to do it both directions to make sure I'm going straight up and down. The other thing that I've done is I make sure that I don't go too deep. And I have my bit marked with how deep it needs to be. And then I took how far this was down, and I knew that it came right to that white mark for me. So I knew how deep to go that way. Now this is tight enough that when it goes in, it's going to screw in, but I'd still glue it, of course.
Okay, so anyway, while he was doing that, I put on another picture. And here is how I have envisioned this. I got one of these glass candle holders from the Dollar Tree. It's generally clear glass. I spray painted it white. I have found that, thank you for sprinkling, Selena. Hello, Denise. Hey, Jill. I haven't been paying attention to people. Hey, Ruthie, thanks for following. Anyway, I find it works better if I spray paint glass. I can take chalk paint and paint it, but I get a lot of streaks and I have to do a lot of layers. It's just easier to do it with spray paint. So next we're going to do this. We're going to stack this baby up and then put our little top on. And it will just be a little stand that can set out and you can kind of turn it around. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do two kinds of glue. I'm going to use, this is Fix-All adhesive. It's a lot like E6000 from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to put this on half of this. This is going to be my long-lasting glue, but it takes a while to dry. So while it's drying, I need something else to hold it in place. So I'm going to use my hot glue. So I'm going to do that in between all of those little sections. So I have some instant hold and some long-term hold that takes a while to dry. And let's see, I'm going to center this as well as I can. Boop-a-doop-a-doop. 5 minutes, we can do this. Yes, he is the quintessential teacher. He is, I can't ask him to do anything without him teaching me how to do it. It's
And
like,
she rolls her eyes out loud when I do.
I just want you to do it. Okay, so let me screw this in. So again, glass candle holder from Dollar Tree, this cute little doorknob. I bought these. My sister-in-law told me, oh, you got to get some. So I got some. And I wasn't sure what I was going to use them on, but I found what I'm going to use this one on. It's just going to be a little handle at the top. They don't have these up in our area. I had to go to Southern California to get one. Okay. And let's see. And this is going to be off center. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a little bit of Fix-All or E6000 because that will hold it long term. And then some hot glue to hold it immediately. Okay, make sure I didn't do that upside down. And let's see. Center that on there. Ta-da! Look at that! My little photo cubes on a stand. And then you can take some ribbon. Their colors were kind of a periwinkle blue, so I have some of this bluish ribbon. I'm going to tie this on here. You can do whatever colors are important to you. Because this is their wedding pictures, I thought I would kind of do the wedding colors. And I'm just going to tie a simple bow. You could do a real fancy bow if you wanted to. And tie that on there, fluff that out. And I also have, these are some things that were in the reception on the little gift baggy things. And this ribbon they had custom made. It says Mr. and Mrs. Bourbonnais. So I'm just going to tie that up here just in a little, just like that. And then I've got to put this on it because these were their favors on their tables because all of the guys and all of the bridesmaids wore Reeboks in the wedding.
Not Reeboks.
Not Reeboks.
They're
Chucks.
Chucks. Yeah.
Which are
All-Star? Chuck All-Star?
Converse. They're Converse.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna put my little Converse tennis shoe right there. And there you go. This is my offering for family photo craft ideas. So using dry Mod Podge and making yourself some blocks. And I hope you liked it. I'm sorry you're late, Cynthia. Watch the replay. Super easy. And thank you, all of you, for joining us. And like I said, I hope you will follow our page and check out some of our other crafts that we do. And I think that's it. So have a great weekend. And I'm gonna hold this up so I can.
You lost your Converse.
I did. Here, let me pick it up so I can get a good screenshot, and then I will let you go. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.